Hello everyone, I'm Vanman and welcome to Cometclan Year 1. I've been planning on doing this video for a while now and I finally got around to it. And I'd like to make this a series, hopefully, because this challenge is really cool and I like writing stories about all the cats. Cometclan hasn't done much this year, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Um, I did go back and change some of the cats' designs a little bit. Most notably Ice Storm because I wasn't happy with his markings, but let's get into it. Cometclan was formed hundreds of moons ago when a medicine cat named Fallentail from a clan upon the mountains witnesses a small rock fall from the sky to the earth below from afar. At the time, all three clans' territories were being overrun by wolves that caused constant fatalities. Fallentail and a few others took this as a sign from Starclan to leave the mountains. The prey was becoming scarce, and the threat of wolves was only getting worse with the passing moons. Fallentail believed that this was the right way to go, and that Starclan was guiding them for the better. He gathered up a few cats from each clan, including Riftstar, their leader, and made the long journey down the mountain. Moons later, they stumbled into the forest where the rock had fallen. The prey around the surrounding forest where the rock had crashed was incredibly plentiful. The crater that had been created seemed like an excellent hiding spot for the cats, with the fallen trees creating some of the walls for their soon-to-be camp, as well as a large clearing to build dens. News gets back to the clans about this new place, and eventually, one by one, all the clans moved to the forest and claimed their own territory, and thus, Cometclan was born, in light of their new prosperity and successes. As of now, a recent sickness brought by Leaf Bear has wiped out most of the cats in Cometclan, and surrounding clans as well. Their numbers have decreased drastically, and they are hoping to rebuild soon. And I'll be starting off with Starclan, and our first cat is Toadpurr, who is our Starclan guide. She was 147 moons old, compassionate, an impressive climber, and a good kit sitter. I don't really know much about her, but I think she probably would have been one of Fallen Tail's grandkids considering her age. But I don't know. I still want to write some more lore for her, but I don't really have anything yet. Next up is Honeydapple, who was insecure and a good fighter. Honeydapple was rescued by Riftstar, Thrustflit, and Windpaw after being dumped into a nearby river by a two-leg. She used to be known as a kitty pet named Molly, but decided to choose a more clan-like name after being abandoned by her two-leg, wanting to leave her old kitty pet life behind completely. She was very appreciative of the warrior's kindness and bravery and was relieved to be safe in Cometclan. She invited Dash to the clan later on. Soon after, she died of a broken back after being unable to recover at 180 moons. Next up is Rushshimmer and Fogkit. Rushshimmer was childish and a good kit sitter, and Fogkit was troublesome and a mossball hunter. Everyone loved Rushshimmer. She enjoyed telling all kinds of stories to everyone who came to visit her. She was happy-go-lucky, often had a playful attitude, and was quite sassy, never one to be pushed around. While she was old, she still had a young spirit and would often go out on adventures looking for trinkets to collect and bring back to the Elder's Den. She often liked to decorate her nest and pellet with flowers and other things she may have come across. She was also a great kit sitter and was often seen telling stories and playing with Riftstar's kits while she was still alive. She died peacefully in her sleep of old age at 169 moons. Fogkit was the son of Riftstar and another unknown cat. He was troublesome and he would often mess with the warriors, sneaking into their den and stealing their bedding. He was bitten by a snake and died in his sleep at 5 moons old. And I'm sad he didn't get to do much because I like this design. And his full name would have been Fogglare. I'm drawing these two together because I thought it would be cute since Rush Shimmer always used to watch over Riftstar's kids while they were in the nursery. And now we'll get on to our living cats. And our first cat is Riftstar, who is 76 moons old, charismatic, and a learner of lore. Riftstar likes to tell stories of the clan's founding constantly. He is good friends with Weevilleaf and Brightbreeze, and he wants to learn everything from herbs to helping take care of kits, so he can help out his clan on any short notice. And while he has the basic knowledge of how to perform the duties of the cats who take these roles, he isn't very good at it most of the time. He'd need much more practice if he wanted to help out as much as he'd really like, but he cares for his clan very much and is quite overprotective of his clanmates, and hopes that they can rebuild after such a devastating sickness. So far this year, he helped save Honeydapple after she was dumped by Two Legs, and he also may have a possible kitty pet mate outside of the clan, seeing as he brought two different litters of kits back to the clan this year already, refusing to talk about where they'd come from. He didn't really seem upset about Fogkit's death, but I think he's just trying to put on a mask and be happy for his clan, but I'm pretty sure he's like secretly upset about it. And he hopes he's just leading his clan well and hopes everything is just good. Next up is Thrustflit, who is 70 moons, daring, and an incredible runner. Thrustflit was chosen as deputy suddenly after Cometclan's last deputy died from the green cough outbreak. So far he's doing well and sometimes wonders what it's like to be leader. He often throws himself into dangerous situations which worries his clan, especially his two closest friends, Riftstar and Ice Storm. He puts everything into his work and usually overworks himself, causing him to be tired and wake up late often. He and Ice Storm fight, but he still cares for Ice Storm nonetheless. He's like a brother to him. One day during patrol, he throws himself straight into a battle with a badger, and Ice Storm shields him from the blow, leaving his tail heavily injured. He feels incredibly guilty about this and has since been quieter on Ice Storm. He helped save Honeydapple after she was dumped by Two Legs, and he has a small crush on Riftstar. I hope he has a more better year next year, because it wasn't very good. Next up, we have Weevilleaf, who is 140 moons, confident, and very clever. Weevilleaf worked very hard on the final moon of the previous leaf bear and was hit pretty hard by all the warriors that they had lost due to the green cough outbreak. She feels like if she had only tried a little harder and worked a little faster, she could have saved more of them, even when in reality there's nothing that could have been done at that point. She never doubted her healing abilities until the sickness wiped out half of her clan. She's doing her best to keep her head up and seems like she's regaining the confidence she had before the sickness swept the clan, and never seems to doubt her abilities anymore. She hopes for her apprentice to finish up training soon, though, as she wants to retire. She's in for some well-deserved rest after working so hard. Next up, we have Rainpaw, who is 10 moons, nervous, and constantly climbing. Rainpaw is the daughter of Riftstar and another unknown cat. As a kid, she was quite nervous and would often stay in the nursery watching over her younger siblings instead of exploring the camp. When she wasn't watching her siblings, she'd be in the medicine den watching Weevilleaf work quietly, wondering if one day she could become a medicine cat herself. The idea of battle always frightened Rainpaw. When she'd hear about the warriors told stories hurting other cats, it made her queasy. She loved the idea of working with herbs and learning everything there is to be about a medicine cat. Healing instead of hurting sounded great to her, so she decided to become a medicine cat apprentice, which made Weevilleaf very happy. Her nerves are still bad, but she has been working very hard and enjoying her training a lot, and hopes she's making Weevilleaf proud, and she is closest with her father, Riftstar. Next up is Crowcurl, who is 18 moons, cunning, has a keen eye, and a den builder. Crowcurl didn't really want to become a warrior, so she started training to be a mediator. She'd rather use words than claws to make peace, and she had always been very skittish, even as a kid, and would often overthink little things, being terrified of the thought of being thrown into battle. Despite this, she's oddly cunning and clever and uses this to her advantage while mediating. And she is incredibly skilled, always finding an outcome better than violence or bloodshed where both parties are satisfied. She had taken mediating like a fish to the water, and her clan is very proud. She often takes walks around the clan's entrance deep in thought. She broke the warrior code once, and I guess that doesn't matter because she's a mediator, but I don't know. I wonder what she did, honestly. Next up is Ice Storm, who is 57 moons, responsible, a good kid sitter, and a good swimmer. Ice Storm tried really hard to be a good father after the recent passing of his maid due to the green cough outbreak and did his best to raise Windkid on his own. He is closest to Thrustflit, and they have been close since they were kids. He doesn't really agree with Thrustflit's daring personality and the dangerous things he does. He doesn't want to lose his friend too, especially after losing his mate. Ice Storm doesn't have any hard feelings towards Thrustflit after the badger attack. He wanted to protect him, and he's glad that they all came back alive and wishes Thrushfoot would just talk to him. This year, he had a surprise litter of kits with Snailstripe, and soon after, his tail finally healed. He's back to normal, but he still wishes Thrushfoot would reconcile with him. Next is Bright Breeze, who is 23 moons, ambitious, a good teacher, and has steady paws. Brightpaw became Bright Breeze at 13 moons old. Riftstar still didn't think she was ready to become a warrior yet, and this made her feel like she hadn't done enough during her training. She wondered if Thrushfoot was too focused on his deputy duties to train her to the best of his abilities. This made Bright Breeze a bit ambitious, wanting to prove that she could be a great warrior, maybe even the best. She eventually brings this up to Riftstar, and he apologizes for being so harsh on her in the beginning, seeing that maybe Thrushfoot wasn't the best choice for a mentor after all. Riftstar and Brightbreeze have since become very good friends, and Brightbreeze has become more popular in the clan. She was closest with Rushshimmer before she went to Starclan and is now close with Crowcurl. And next up is Dash, who is 21 moons, grumpy, and a good teacher. Dash was invited to the clan by his grandmother Honeydapple after hearing he had an interest in joining the clan. Everyone welcomed him almost immediately, and despite usually being grumpy, he was overjoyed by all the warm welcomes. Rushflit offered to help him learn how to hunt and even build his own nest. He was closest with his grandmother Honeydapple and has a small crush on Brightbreeze. He was quite shaken by Honeydapple's death this year, and it took him several moons to get over it. But he's feeling a bit better now, and he seems pretty happy and is usually napping. Next up is Windspore, who is 17 moons, adventurous, and a good hunter. Windspore was pretty clumsy as well as playful as a kid. She was often seen playing moss ball with anybody who agreed to. As an apprentice, she was overly faithful in StarClan due to Riftstar always telling her stories about their ancestors during her apprenticeship, about how StarClan guided them to these prey plenty grounds where these cats could be fed and sheltered. She half-heartedly listened as she heard these stories many times before. She would often get into trouble, such as sneaking out of camp at night to go on solo hunting trips and disappearing for the whole day just to explore the territory. Riftstar worked tirelessly to train her into a good warrior, and it paid off as she graduated early at 11 moons and is doing just fine as a warrior. At the end of the year, she was attacked by a fox on patrol, and as a result, her leg was mangled, and she is not happy about it. She was also helped save Honeydapple after she was dumped by Two Legs, and she is closest to her father, Ice Storm. Next up, I'll be talking about Pepperpaw and Jumppaw, and I'll be talking about them together because they are only apprentices right now and they are also siblings. They are both 8 moons old, and Pepperpaw is strict and interested in clan history, while Jumppaw is oblivious and interested in clan history. Pepperpaw is the daughter of Riftstar and another unknown cat. As a kid, she was a daydreamer and liked her father's stories of the clan's founding and was quite interested in them. She's quite strict, always following the warrior code by every word, and the other apprentices usually get annoyed about how much she talks about the warrior code, which is constantly. She occasionally wonders about her outsider roots. Why was her father, the leader, breaking the code by having a kitty pet outside the clan as a mate? She doesn't try to worry about it too much, but she cares way more than her sibling Jumppaw does, who doesn't care at all. She's doing well with training, and her mentor is Winsmore. And Jumpaw is the child of Riftstar and another unknown cat. As a kid, they were polite and liked their father's stories of the clan's founding, but never paid much attention. They're naturally very curious, but also extremely oblivious to the world around them, often zoning out. They are incredibly close with their sister and have become even closer since their brother Fogkit died, and would like to be closer with their father. Although they don't mind their heritage, their sister does. They don't really get why Pepperpaw cares so much. The clan respects them nonetheless. Why should they care? They are also doing well with training, and their mentor is Bright Breeze. And our last cats, Snailstripe, Weaselkit, and Beetlekit. Snailstripe is 41 moons old, compassionate, and a den builder. Snailstripe came to Cometclan after leaving his old clan behind after a sign from Starclan told him to leave. He fell into a river on the way, which resulted in him getting injured. He was rescued by Thrustflit and Bright Breeze. He's compassionate, cares for others, and appreciates Cometclan's rescue greatly. He had a surprise litter of kits with Ice Storm this year, even though they don't have any feelings for each other. He is closest to his kits. Weaselkit and Beetlekit are both 3 moons old, and Weaselkit is an attention seeker and likes getting in other cats' way, while Beetlekit is a know-it-all and likes to annoy all the older cats. And she also likes to tell other kids every bug fact she knows while playing. I'm going to use this portion of the video to talk about some additional information I forgot to mention. The 2 other clans that came from the mountains were Boulder Clan and Storm Clan, and their original territories were called the Valleys of the Mountain. And the rock that Fallen Tail saw was a meteorite that had crashed. And he, was like, okay, this is Starclan telling us that we need to go. We need to skedaddle. We need to get out of here, bruh. And that's what they did. And I did mess up a few things while making this, but I think year 2 will be like a lot more cleaner because it's kind of just like a first practice video into getting into commentary and stuff, so hopefully the next one will be better with my newfound knowledge of editing, I guess. And also, if anybody has some suggestions on how I should do things better next time, then definitely let me know if you have some better knowledge on doing videos like this, because I'm not very good at it at all. And I would appreciate the critique. And that's year 1 of Cometclan. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know my microphone quality isn't great, and I kind of stuttered a bit, but that's just how it be. Fuck it, we ball. Um, but this was really fun. I definitely want to do a year 2 because I really like these cats and like what they got going on right now. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.